Welcome to a new anime review series. Because recently I finished the One Piece. I did a review of that one. And this one is basically one that I never thought I would do a re-review of this series, but here I am. I'm doing a re-review of a series I originally did 3 years ago. It was also, believe it or not, yeah, that's a quote from this particular series, the very first anime I have ever reviewed. Namely, Naruto! Yep, I'm doing Naruto again. Yep, only this time I'm not reviewing the entire damn series in one video this time. Nope, I'm not making that mistake again. Yeah, that was a terrible idea I did. This was 3 years ago, back in my old house. And my friend Edgar was the one who recommended this series. This was the first one he recommended to me. Now, the thing is with this series and the series I did after this one, which was Bleach, I did this thing where I watched the anime and then I decided, wait, why not just read the manga while watching it? Yeah, and then right after I finished with Naruto and Bleach, so both series took me a while to finish up. Yeah, it took me a little while because Naruto is 700 chapters, believe it or not. Bleach was 686. Of the two, basically for these, I have bought a few of the volumes for both Naruto and, of course, Bleach, but I didn't start reading the manga until after I started watching the anime. When I got to my next series after I did, Bleach, I pretty much decided from that point forward that I'll read the source material first, then watch the anime. That's been my MO for the past 3 years. And look up, since I've read the series already, it was technically, when it comes to Naruto, it was like the third series I had ever completed. Yeah, it was the third manga I had ever completed at that point. Of course, during that first year, not only did Naruto, Bleach, I also did Fairy Tail, One Piece, Yu Yu Hakusho, Hunter x Hunter, a lot of the really big shonen series during my first year reviews. Of course, this year I've done not a lot of really big series people. Some people have heard of this one, but not as big as, let's say, Naruto. Originally, when I first heard about Naruto, I saw some images, and I didn't get interested until my friend recommended to check out the series. Plus, I love ninjas. Naruto Uzumaki himself is heavily based upon Goku. Yes, he's basically sort of in a way a cheap ripoff of Goku. Basically in somewhat of appearance. I mean, his blonde hair. Yeah, he's a blonde. Yeah, basically his father. I won't review who his father is right now, not until I get to Shippuden. Yeah, I will eventually get to Shippuden. Right now I'm just doing the original series. He's physically like his father, but he has his mother's personality. They don't reveal who his parents are until part 2 of the series, namely Shippuden. Yes, and this particular series, Naruto, is notorious for having a ton of filler. Though Shippuden had a lot more than this one. Yes, though Naruto, the original series, lasted for 220 episodes. And the reason why I'm able to do this again is because 2 months ago it was announced at the Funimation anime, the virtual con Funimation did a couple months ago, that Funimation got the license to stream this series. I'm like, when I initially heard about this, I'm like, oh, that is so awesome. But I'm thinking, though, is this a Viz Media dub? Technically, it still is. But here's kind of the strange thing. What they did with this. They didn't change any of the dub. Nope, nothing in the dub was changed when it comes to this particular series. Still the same dub actors. The only thing they changed is, like, first they showed TV Tokyo, which is the channel this show virtually aired on, and then instead of the Viz Media logo, it's Funimation. Yeah, though it's kind of weird that they got this one. Yes, though I have heard recently that Funimation and Viz Media have formed a partnership. I mean, why the heck not? Viz Media does not have a streaming service. They do have anime, but they don't have a streaming service. So they probably figured, oh, hey, why not just put on Funimation? Because they also got Hunter x Hunter. I might eventually get back to that series, the 2011 series. They also put one of the cinema movies, and they also put a couple of the Berserk movies on there too. And these are all dubs originally by Viz Media. Not the first time Funimation has put on a dub that's not theirs on their streaming service. Heck, there are dubs done by Crunchyroll and Aniplex. Yeah, that was another dub company that somehow got merged with Funimation because both dub studios are owned by Sony. Yep, Sony owns both of them. And they're able to basically show all of them. And apparently, Sony wants to sort of in a way do a monopoly on anime streaming service because yes, there's Crunchyroll, and I've heard rumors abound that the series, the website itself, for some reason, AT&T has been trying to sell the website to Sony for $1.5 billion. Yes, no joke about it. Yes. Okay, now, in this particular series, in this particular review, I'm only discussing the first 5 episodes. And you're probably thinking, no, wait, you're about 6 minutes in and you discuss nothing about the main series, just about other stuff related to it. Yes, the series originally aired back in 2002. When I originally did the series, it was 2017. The very year that Shippuden ended. Because over the course of originally a month, I basically watched the series. And during the month of January. Yeah, I started out the very year with this particular anime. Though I did my first review of the series until February. Yep. Though I did kind of start doing this thing where every video I discussed one season of a show. Though in recent times, I have kind of stopped doing that. Mainly because I'm working now, so I don't have time to simply, like in the past year, like whenever I watch a full season, it takes me a while to get through. And some of these seasons for some series I've watched can be really, really long and can take me about a week or two because I don't have all the time I need to originally watch these series as I did 3 years ago. Now, these 5 episodes are technically referred to as the Prologue episodes. The very first episode of the series introduces Naruto Uzumaki, Aruka, the third Hokage. These are not the only characters debuted in this episode. Though in the manga, it's just these 3 characters, plus along with the hidden elite village, the concept of jutsu. Then there's Chakra in the very next episode. First appearance of the Hokage Mount, which I have heard is based upon Mount Rushmore. Yes, the Hokage Mount is based upon Mount Rushmore. And this episode also did the anime debut of characters where they don't really appear until a little bit later. Like, a couple of them don't technically appear in the chapter this episode is based on. They don't appear, like, 2 of whom don't appear into chapter 3, and a lot of everybody else don't make their debut until, like, the tuning exams. Yep. Now, in the very first episode, aside from Naruto, Ruka, and the third Hokage, we also see the debut of Sakura, Sasuke, Hinata. We see brief cameos by Kiba, Choji. We don't see Shikamaru here. He technically doesn't appear in the first episode. Not that I saw, no. Let's see. Hinata appears here. Yeah, and of course she's voiced by Stephanie Seif. This was the first series I heard her in. Now, fun fact about the actors who voices Naruto. I have met her. Yep, I've also met the actor who voices Kiba. Yep, and from what I had, when I talked to him briefly about him, he did really enjoy voicing Kiba. He loved voicing the character. And if your anime is curious, so we watched him voice the character Bond in Blue Exorcist, why the character sounds so similar, even though yes, it's the same voice actor, why the same style of voice? Because they're on the same age. That's the reason why Kyle Herbert did that. Now, who voices Sakura? She gets a couple lines in the first episode. That's Katie Higgins. Yep, Katie Higgins. And one of my friends actually met the guy who voices Sasuke. Yeah, he met him in L.A. Yeah, because he lives down in California. And he met him and his wife, who actually is the voice of my second favorite character series, who does not appear in these first 7 episodes. Nope, she doesn't show up until, like, episode 20. I will discuss her later. Yep. Everyone shows off their jutsu, transforming into Ruka. Naruto, of course, you first seen the episode. Also, fun fact, he's wearing goggles in his first appearance. Yes, I have heard that the reason why he switched Ninja Headband by episode 3, because he got tired of drawing the goggles. He thought that the goggle... Now, this is, of course, according to Kish, this is what I heard from Kishimoto in an interview, that he found the goggles very difficult to draw, so after, like, a couple chapters, like, just, I'm going to give up, basically, put the Ninja Headband on him. That's the reason why in episode 3, he puts his Ninja Headband on officially. So Naruto basically is first seen pulling a prank. He decides to graffiti the Hokage mount. He doesn't like wreck it or anything. No, he just basically paints a bunch of symbols on it. Though Boruto would do the same thing in the first episode of Boruto. Though he's caught by a Ruka. The Ruka spends half the episode yelling at him. And he gets chased. Sorry, they do twice in the episode. People kept finding him. Yeah, third Hokage. Yeah, first time we see him in the episode, he is painting. Yep. Oh, fun fact with third Hokage. What's his favorite what's his what is his hobby? Talking to girls. Yep, that is seriously the man's hobby. Talking to girls. Yep, I found this out in the fanfic, which from what I heard is definitely true. Yep, and well, Aruka does catch him. Of course, he does basically. Well, his punishment is to remove the graffiti, and of course, Aruka basically buys some ramen. Though they go to class later, they transformation jutsu. Naruto does sex jutsu, which causes Aruka to get a nosebleed. Yeah, it's a common trope in anime where guys basically, when you see a smoking hot babe, they give themselves a nosebleed. Yeah, it's a common trope, which I know that that's actually something that I believe Roshi was the one who started that. Yes, apparently in the last few years, people have been complaining about that whenever characters are notorious being perverts. So they have a nosebleed. And I heard that the reason why they decided to have Roshi get rid of his nosebleed thing because people were complaining about it. It took them 30 years to finally complain about something that's been anime for decades. Yep, so Naruto's out the first time over this series, his Sekijutsu. And, well, he fails. Then, of course, you see, people mumbling something like, hey, something about a fox. Yeah, of course, the first episode does not start with seeing Naruto. Oh, no. It starts off with the nine-tailed fox attacking the Hidden Leaf Village. Though the animation here is better than how they depict this scene later. Oh, my gosh. It is so... The way they depict this, it's kind of like you're going to a different studio with how they did it. And my guess is that Funimation, when they got their hands on this, they must have basically did a lot of restoration for this series, despite the fact, yes, Viz Media did dub it, and they must have heavily restored this series. They must have got this hand to this series a while ago. And it probably took them a while to restore all the coloring to the series. The series animation still looks great, from what I remember from a few years ago. And they did really good with it. You see the fourth Hokage. Don't see the man's face. See him in shadow. And he imprisons the fox inside Naruto as a baby. Yep. And then we cut to present day. That's when he does the graffiti stuff. So, after he fails, then Mizuki, he's actually a chonin, believe it or not. Yep. And he's a teacher at the school. So he convinces Naruto, hey, why don't you go steal this big, humongous scroll, this sealing scroll? And Naruto's like, okay. So, he steals it. And after basically finding a place to hide to see what's on the scroll, he gets just to the first page. Where I was like, oh crap, transmission. And though they do hint this as like he tries a Shadow Clone Jutsu, but it turns to be really bad. So he finally decided to just practice this one technique. The Shadow Clone Jutsu. Which when Miyazaki shows up, of course the debut of the Demon Shuriken. Yes, the Demon Shuriken is basically a giant shuriken that you can basically strap on your back. This thing does reappear again later on in later episodes for this portion of the series. Yeah, it's something they don't really use very much. If they use shuriken, they use a traditional small shape, star-shaped shuriken. They also have kunai, which are simply just these metal things wrapped around with rope. And sometimes basically the rope can be different colors, depends on the village. For the Hidden Leaf, that's in the village, so it's also called Koro, I think that's how they pronounce it. Yeah, I prefer the Hidden Leaf, that's how the English pronounce it. Now, they also give, apparently in the actual sub, they give the Shadow Clone Jutsu sort of a different name. I'm not really a big fan of it. I like Shadow Clone Jutsu better. So, after Ruka reveals that he actually was on Naruto's side all along, despite the fact he actually was chastising him a lot of the time during the whole thing. Yep. After revealing, though, that Mizuki just wanted to do his own power, though they kind of retcon this later. I'll mention in a minute. So, Naruto tries out the jutsu, and he forms 100 shadow clones. Yep, it's an awesome sight to see. And he proceeds to beat the Mizuki, and he's forgiven for what he did. The very next episode, Naruto takes a picture to get his ninja ID. He dresses like a clown, because of course he does. And we see the Horikage not like it very much. And then we see the anime debut of 2 new characters, Konohamaru and Inubu. Yes, this guy with shades who's obsessed with making Konohamaru the Hokage. Konohamaru, a little boy who's 10 years old, has got himself a freaking scarf. Yes, a long scarf. It's way too long. Fun fact, in the Naruto series, he still has this scarf. Yeah, he still does. Where he got the scarf from, the series never explains it. He also wears like a diaper on his head. And he also has a thing where he constantly, according to the third Hokage, that was his 20th sneak attack of the day. Yeah, apparently he's doing it constantly. So he starts hanging around Naruto, and of course they chat for a while. And it's a good bonding moment for them throughout the whole episode. He teaches him the sex jutsu, though one woman basically beats up Naruto for teaching the sex jutsu to a 10-year-old, though Naruto's supposed to be 12 at this point in this series. So eventually they beat up his trainer, who later becomes a sensei. Of course, they try the Shaka. Oh, I'm not as easily gullible as Mizuki. Yeah, that's the last time you hear the guy's name mentioned, because next time you actually see the guy is not until a filler story later on in this series, not Shippuden. Oh no, he comes back in a filler arc where he has connections to the main villain of the next several arcs throughout the rest of this series. Yeah, he has connections to him. For some reason, the anime decided to do a retcon when it comes to him. It's like, oh, he just basically he's obsessed with power, and then later on it's like, nah, he was just a lackey for this other guy. I'll discuss that when I get to his return. So, how does Ibero get defeated? By having Naruto use her Shadow Clone Jutsu to form the Harem Jutsu, making all of it to a sex jutsu and him getting defeated. Though Naruto at first was a closeted pervert, because it basically bleeds not from one nose but also both. Yeah, also the third Hokage gets a nosebleed too. And then Konohamaru reveals that you have to be him. Like, that reveal later is like, oh yeah, you got plenty of time to do it. It's like, there's no shortcut to become a Hokage. Naruto, I got handed to the writing this episode. He's written to be a little better than he is later on in later series. Next episode, the formation of the teams. Also, this is the episode that has the debut of Kakashi, Asura, and Koronai. Yes, the 3 senseis who become teachers for Team 7, Team 10, Team 8, and Team 10. Team 7 obviously is Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, which this episode is notorious for not an anime glitch. No, this also happened in manga too, where everybody's like, all the girls are obsessing over Sasuke, and Naruto's like, what's so crazy about him? And then all of a sudden the guy just accidentally elbows Naruto, and he ends up kissing Sasuke. Yeah, even originally watching this 3 years ago, like, man, that's gross. Even they both found it disgusting, and both Ito and Sakura proceed to beat the crap out of him for it. Though it was an accident, they did reference this, believe it or not, they reference this later on when they meet up with the other, creatures with tails. And this particular moment will be recreated in the Boruto series. Though it would be a lot more hilarious, where it was actually Ibizu who knocked Boruto. It looked like he knocked it to Sadara. Though it looked like there was shock, like, when did he kiss? And it's kissing her foot. Which I thought that was so hilarious, the fact they referenced this. So, teammate is made up of Hinata, Kiba, and Shino. Yeah, this is the first appearance of Shino. And you won't see him again until episode 20. Yep, after this episode, he doesn't appear again to that point. He doesn't speak. Nope, he does not speak. Kiba speaks one line in this episode. Hinata speaks 2 lines in episode 3. In episode 1, she speaks 1 line, though she gets a lot more dialogue later. And Team 10 is made up of the first appearance of Ino and Shikamaru. Yep, Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji. The Ino Shikadai Chocho formation. Yeah, it's basically a family thing. Yeah, that's the reason why it's related to why these three were paired together. Of course, they don't show the meeting of their senseis when they have, well, Kakashi, and of course, this episode also has not only that, but also teenage hijinks. Naruto beating up Sasuke. And of course, Sasuke not knowing the fact he can do Shadow Jutsu. So, beats him up, and of course, Naruto transforms himself into Sasuke, though he ends up having to go to the bathroom, though this episode also had Kakashi visit Naruto's place. Though it's later on revealed he also visited the place where Sasuke lived. Yeah, that's kind of the strange thing in these episodes. They don't really show Sasuke's place. They show Naruto's place. Yeah, it's an apartment building, which he would be housed this place into the pain arc, where it gets destroyed. Yep, is that his apartment gets destroyed in the pain arc. Though he does get a new attic later. He does get a new apartment later. His apartment is not fully shown here. They show a little more later. You see his bed, where he looks like he sleeps with a nightcap on. You see his small kitchen, where he eats ramen for breakfast, and he drinks way expired milk. Or he ends up having to go to the bathroom a lot in the episode. Yeah, and of course, Ino has a thing where if you lay one scratch on Sasuke, I'm on enemy list for life. No. Yeah, that's childish things. Yep. It's not a 3 is just an okay episode. It's just a lot of introduction and setup. Yeah, and then we have episode 4, we have the team meeting Kakashi, which nothing's really much revealed about him aside from the fact he just likes everything. And of course, they learn on the show he apparently is a fan of a adult novel series. They don't reveal who the writer of the series is. I think it's called Makeout Session. I think it is Yeah, this book is a very adult book, and they don't reveal the writer until the Chunin exam arc. And he's a very big known celebrity of who created this thing, and his connections to the actual village itself, and who he was a student of. Other than that, later when I discuss the Chunin exam. Yep. So they meet each other, and then of course next day have a test. An endurance test, which lasts basically episodes 4 and 5, where they basically have to survive the bell test, which they repeat this at the start of Shippuden, by the way. And of course, Naruto tries to attack Kakashi. Though he gets stopped. I didn't say start yet. And of course, then they do start, and Naruto does have attack him first. Though Naruto does some interesting strategy, though he's kind of an idiot anyways. And of course, when he sees Sasuke does his moves, like when he does the Fireball Jutsu for the first time in the series, he's like, that's advanced level Jutsu. Again, he should know that. Yeah, there's a reason why he knows that. It's a clan Jutsu. Though the thing is, it's later revealed that's not the first person who knows how to use his Jutsu. It was actually a friend of his, who apparently died prior to the events of the series. And he was the first person he knew who used the damn thing. Yep. Of course, his backstory is thoroughly explored throughout the series. He's actually by far the only person whose backstory is thoroughly explored. Like, wow, he is one of the most developed characters. He's probably the most thoroughly developed characters of the series by the time of the series end. Though they don't exactly develop him very much in Boruto, because his development's done. Yep. And Sakura didn't do very much, and they had beating lunch and couldn't exactly get the bells, and, well, Sasuke did touch the bells, but didn't get them. So, and of course, Naruto got in trouble for attempting to eat the lunch before the actual thing, and so he gets tied up. So, they have later where the whole thing about the fact they failed because he used teamwork, and then they actually passed because they broke the rules and used teamwork. And then he uses a quote that actually a friend of his has later used, quoting is like, those who don't follow the rules are trash. Those who don't protect their friends are lower than trash. Yeah, I'm just quoting it, but that is actually something that he actually took from an old friend of his who actually died prior to the events of the series. Who also used the Fireball Jutsu, by the way. He's an Uchiha. I won't reveal who it is, because it's kind of silly of who the heck his friend is and how he's connected to the main villain of the series. Yep, and because they cheated or the big rules to pass, they pass. And they're officially Team 7. Next episode is the start of their first mission, a bodyguard mission, which we'll discuss that in part 2. Yep, great set of episodes. It's kind of an odd set of episodes to start the series off with, especially since the series is one of the Holy Shonen Trinity. Yeah, at the time this came out, even the manga, it was this one, Bleach, and One Piece. Currently, One Piece is still kind of holding that, though I have heard there have been a couple series that kind of replaced it. One is My Hero Academia. That's kind of obvious, the fact kind of replaced it. The other, of course, the fill in the gap with the Holy Trinity. Some people are throwing in Demon Slayer into that mix. Yes, especially since of the 3 series. Bleach since ended. Naruto did end, but was continued as Boruto, and One Piece is still going. Yes, and fun fact about One Piece and Naruto. The writers of the series are frenemies. Yep. Oda considers Kishimoto a friend/rival of his. Yeah. And the thing is, he does ninja stuff in the One Piece series, and I'm surprised that Kishimoto's like, hey, ninja's my stuff. But I've heard some interesting things about, like in the case of the ramen stand that Naruto goes to, which is the first episode's debut of it. He goes to frequently the events of the series, though Boruto becomes a full-blown restaurant. Here's an interesting little factor about this particular ramen stand. It is based upon a real-life place. Yes, it's a place that Kishimoto went to when he went to college. Yes, I found out about this later thanks to Balls Deep. Yep, and here's interesting about Sasuke. He's based upon Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, and believe it or not, he's actually named after Kira Toriyama's son. Yes. And the outfit that he wears in the series, where he's got like the white sleeves and the blue top and the white shorts. Yeah, this is an outfit he would wear most throughout the first half of the series before switching to a completely different outfit. Sakura is a character that a lot of people deem useless. Well, for good reason, because she isn't much of a character anyway. She's just there for fan service. Kind of, in a way. And, of course, Naruto is basically a guy's crush on her. Though, in case you're wondering, does the crush go anywhere? No. No, it doesn't. He doesn't even end up with her when the series ends. He ends up with somebody else. Somebody who a lot of people hated. Yeah, the fan base was split on who he would end up with. Some people say he should end up with Sakura, not this other person, who was my favorite character in the series. Yeah, those of you know it's Hinata. Yeah, he ends up with Hinata at the end of the series, which is basically something that's been known for years. And fun little factoid, Kishimoto got a fight with his wife over this decision. He basically wanted Naruto to end up with Sakura, but he wanted to be, with Hinata. But he did base the romance of Naruto and Hinata on his romance with his wife. And when the series ended in 2014, the first thing he did, he took his wife on a long-awaited honeymoon after 15 years. Yes, he waited until his series was over to take his wife on their long-awaited honeymoon. Yeah, kind of a good going away present. A honeymoon for his wife. Yep. But not much else to say about these 5 episodes. It's an okay start for the series, but it does get a heck of a lot better after this. Yep. And, mostly in the ways. Now, all the characters will retain all their voice actors by the time the series ends, with the exception of a couple of them. Anko would actually change voice actors halfway through this series, switch to a different voice actor. Konohamaru had the same voice actor as Ino. Yes, these two had the same voice actor, but by the time Boruto started up, Konohamaru switched voice actors. I have heard his adult dub voice once in the Boruto film. Yeah. Plus, I do own that film, plus the film The Last was my personal favorite and movie. Of course, Millie, the actress who voices Naruto, she loves that film too. which I might get to that one because of how important to the series that particular film is. Especially as Kishimoto had a heavy hand with that particular film. He was heavily involved with that film because that film took place after the events of Chapter 699 and well before the events of Chapter 700, which is basically an epilogue for the series, okay? Yeah, but not much to say about this. Can't wait to discuss the next 15 episodes. Actually, more like 14. Yep, so yeah, that's it for this particular review. My next video is going to be Comic Corner. And that'll be it for this evening, okay? See you next video. Bye.